and today I'm going to solve the Robin Hood Incident Broken Arrows by RobK. This is another slightly older puzzle, I believe from 2021, and this one was recommended to me. So I am going to attempt this. If you would like to try this puzzle for yourself, it will be the first link in the description. Let's have a look at the rules. The story goes that the legendary Robin Hood once fired an arrow perfectly into another, splitting it. Okay, normal Sudoku rules apply. So we're going to place the digits 1 to 9, once each in every row, every column, and every box. Also, the digits on an arrow add up to the digit in that arrow's circles. Arrows and circles have to be matched by the solver. No cell on any arrow shares a row, column, or 3x3 box with its circle. To clarify, if an arrow with a total 6 shares a box with a 6 in a circle, that cannot be the circle that goes with that arrow. Note that the cross in row 1, column 8 is a 1-cell arrow. In other words, the digit in that cell must match the digit in its respective circle. So what does all that mean? That, as I understand it, means that this 3-cell arrow needs to be matched up with some circle, but it can't be this circle because it's in the same box. It can't be this circle because it shares a column with this arrow. It can't be this circle because that also shares a column, and it can't be this circle because that also shares a row. Furthermore, if this were 1, 2, 3, and we discovered that this were a 6, then there must be some other 6 that this is the 1, 2, 3 for. There must be some other 6 for which this is the 1, 2, 3. And there must be some other arrow that adds up to 6. Say that could be a 3 and a 3, which is that 6. And I hope that that's not the actual digits, because that would be crazy coincidental. All right, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. All right. Goodness, where to start? Are there any arrows that see most of the circles? I mean, this one sees quite a few. That one sees all 4 of those, that one and that one. But that still has a lot of options. Okay, there's only one 1-cell arrow. That's this one. So there is only one arrow that could be a 1. Because all the other arrows are going to be at least 2, right? Because they're 2-cell or more. But if this were a 1, then yeah, so this is going to repeat. This cell is going to have some circle have the same digit in it, and none of those can, and none of those can. So I know that 1 is not in there, because if this were a 1, then they're not eligible circles for this arrow, and if this is not a 1, then I don't have any circles that have a 1 in. So none of those are 1. And that does not seem a big deduction at all. Where can this arrow go? I mean, it could be there, could be there, 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 there. I have 3 arrows that are at least 6. That doesn't have to be. That could be 3 there with a 1 there. Could be as little as 4. These could be as little as 2. Well, 2 of them could be. That could be a 1, 1, and that could be a 1, 1. Um, okay, I can't put a 9 on an arrow. So I have a 9 in one of those 3. Because if I have a 9, apart from this single arrow, that could be a 9. Well, naturally, now it can't. I can't put an arrow on a 9 on one of these arrows because as soon as I have a 9 there, any digit is going to make it 10 or more. So I have a 9 in one of those. That eliminates 9 from those by Sudoku, and that means that I can't place a 9 in any of those, so that's a 9. And now I can't place a 9 there, so one of those 2 is a 9. Well, I have a digit. This is a minimum of 21, so that would make that 24. This is a minimum of 15 plus 9, that's 24, making that... Sorry, that's a maximum of 24, but it's a maximum of 24 anyway. That's a maximum of 21. But that would be anyway because the 9's not in there, so 6, 7, 8 would make that 21 anyway. So that doesn't seem very useful. Maximum. Oh, right. Okay, let's think about that. The maximum sum for those 2 is 9 because they have to sum to a valid circle. Maximum for those 2 is 9. Maximum for those 2 is 9. So the maximum for that is 3 9s, which is 27. And the maximum for this is 3 9s, which is 27. Okay, that looks interesting. 27 plus 27 is 54. Or should I be thinking, okay, that's 27. So this is a minimum of 18. And this is a minimum of 18. That's 36 minimum. So this is a maximum of 9. But we can't have a 1 in there because that's the only candidate to produce a 1 circle, but none of those circles can be that arrow's circle. So as we discussed earlier, there is no 1 in there. And so the minimum that can be is 9. So that is 9, and that's 2, 3, 4. And now, with that being a maximum of 18 and this being a maximum of 18, no, minimum of 18. Right, this is a maximum of 27. This is a minimum of 18. That's the maximum of 27. This is a minimum of 18. But as soon as I try and push this up, I'm necessarily bringing this down in order to make 45 for the row. So they are 18. So that sums to 18, and each of these is a 9 sum. Okay, that's very nice. So that means I have 5 circles that I need to put 9s in. And look at that. I can only put 1 9 in this row that has circles in. I can only put 1 9 in this row that has a circle in. I can only put 1 9 in this row, which I've already done. That's 3. I can only put 1 9 in this row that has circles in. And I can only put 1 9 in this row that has circles in. Therefore, I need a 9 in each row that has circles. So that's a 9. Those are not. That's a 9. That's not. These can't be 9s by Sudoku, so that's a 9, and that's a 9. All right, now let's keep track of things. Let's see. This 9 sees these two arrows and this one and this one. So that must be that arrow. This 9 sees that one and that one and this one, so it must be this one. Okay. This 9 sees both of these two arrows, so this one must be this one. This 9 now sees this arrow, so that tracks to there, and this one therefore must be this arrow. Let's colour that. And I can't put any more 9s in circles, so no more arrows have 9s. No more arrows sum to 9, and all arrows that are 3 cells that see each other that are not 9 must have a 1 in. So I can place 1 on one of those, 1 on one of those. So I have these two. So I've got 2 arrows that are from 6, 7, and 8. So 2 of these are from 6, 7, and 8 and could be repeated. But I have 3 arrows that are 2, 3, and 4. All right. These 2 digits add up to 9 because the total of the box is 45. And I've already got 9, that's 9, that's 9, and that's 9. But these 2 digits do not have a 2, 3, or a 4 in. So that must be 1, 8. That makes this 5, 6, and 7. So now this 9 arrow can't be 1, 2, 6 because we've already used the 6 up here. It can't be 1, 3, 5 because we've already used up the 5 here. So this must be 2, 3, 4. And this must be 1, 8. Okay, that's very nice. I've got a 1 and an 8 in those cells, but this is not an 8 because if that were an 8, even if both of those were 1s, which they couldn't be, we would exceed we would exceed 9. Right, so I've done a bit of work up here. I've got a 2, a 3, and a 4 arrow to find. Well, we've already allocated these arrows. This could be a 4 arrow, except if it were a 4 arrow, it couldn't be this 4 arrow. This can't be a 2, 3, or a 4. This can't be a 2, 3, or 4. So these 3 arrows are between them 2, 3, and 4. Well, this one is not the 2 arrow because then I couldn't have a 1 here. So that is a 3 or a 4, and that digit is not a 1. So that means that this is a 1 or a 2. If it's a 2, that could be a 2. If this is a 3 arrow, then that would be the 2, because it couldn't be 2, 1. If it were a 4 arrow, that could be a 2, or it could be a 3. Okay. If this were the 2 arrow, then that would be 1, 1. That would make that the 4 arrow, because that would have to be 2, 2, because that could no longer be a 1. This then would have to be the 3 arrow. That would be a 2. That would be a 1. That seems reasonable. No, it doesn't. Because if that's 1, 1, this arrow, right, we know that these 3 arrows are the 2, 3, 4 in this box. This arrow is this one, because both of those digits see that. So if this were the 2 arrow, 1, 1, then this would be a 2, but this being the 3 arrow, because this is now the 4 arrow of 2, 2, this being the 3 arrow, this would have to be a 2, because it couldn't be a 1 from there, and that would break this cell. So that is not the 2 arrow, this is the 2 arrow, and that's a 1, 1. I don't know which of these two it is yet, but that is no longer a 1. This now can't be a 1. So this is a 3 or a 4 arrow. So that is 2 or 3. I missed unpencil mark that. That's now a 2 or a 3. This is a 1 or a 2. Okay. That is not a 2. We know that that's a 3 or a 4. Okay. Right. If this were a 2, 2 to make the 4, then that would knock 2 out of both of those by Sudoku. So this is not 2, 2. So that means that that must be a 1. And then if that's a 2, it's the 3 arrow. And if it's the 3, it's the 4 arrow. Right, so that removes a 1 from there. That makes that a 1. That removes a 1 from there. So 1 is in one of those two. So that's 8. And that's 1. And now 1 in this row can't go here or any of these places. So that's a 1. So now this is 2 or 3, and that there is a 2, 3 pair. So any digit that sees both of those, or any cell that sees both of those, can't be a 2 or a 3. Okay. This is no longer 6. Okay, this arrow sees, of the remaining Yeah, we know that this is allocated to one of those, and we know that this is allocated to one of those. This arrow sees this one, and this one, and the only unallocated circle it could be is that. So let's give that a color. So now this is 6, 7, or 8. We can't be 9. We've got no more 9 arrows. So now this arrow can't be either of these two. So that, mark that in yellow. Let's try yellow, is that one. Okay. So this is either this or this. Okay. This is 6, 7, or 8. Actually, it can't be 6 because, right, we said this can't be 6 because I can't put 1, 2, 3 on here because that'll break that. So that is 7 or 8. This is either this one, which still could be, well, that's a minimum of 5 because we've got 2, 3, 4 up there. So that, just by Sudoku, is 5, 6, or 7. So if that's 7, that's 1 and 1, which we can't do for multiple reasons. 1, I can't put another 1 there. 2, I can't have another 9 arrow. If that's 6, 1, that's 7. I can't put a 1 there to make 8. And I can't put a 2 there to make 9 because we don't have any more 9 arrows. So that's a 5. And now this sums to 6. Adding 1 would make 7, but I can't add a 1. Adding 2 makes 8, which I can do. Adding 3 makes 9, which I can't do because I can't have any more 9 arrows. That's a 2. That is beautiful. That 2 makes this a 3. That means that this is now a 4, and that is a 2, 3 pair. And this 2 is looking up. That's the 3. That's the 2. So I am going to repeat some colors because I'm running out. And I think it's pretty obvious that that 1, 1 which is defined must be that 2 and not accidentally thinking that those 2 are 2. This must be a 3 arrow, therefore that's a 2. That I am going to give, let's give that one light green, and that one is there. All right. So that's an 8. And that is one of these 2. So one of those 2 is an 8. This has a 2 on it. This can't be a 7 because 7 is 1, 2, 4. Therefore, this must be 8. It must be 1, 3, 4. And that one's not a 1. I'll remove that corner mark. That makes this an 8. So that is now 6 or 7, which I will come back to. But we said that one of these 2 must be an 8 for this arrow. And now it can't be this one by Sudoku. So that's an 8. And we are going to give that blue. Okay. This now has a 2 on it because it is 6 or 7. So this is 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4. And this cell must be this cell. Let's give that purple, purple there. That's very nice. So that's 5, 6, or 7. Okay, this 2 is looking up. That's not a 2. I've got a 1, 3, 4 triple in the column. So that is 5, 6, or 7. I've got a 2, 3, 4 triple in the column. So I get 5, 6, 7, 8 in those. Okay. All right. These are 6, 7, and 8. And that one's not an 8. Is it time to think about these? We've got 4, 5. That one can't be 4, 5. This one could be in a specific order. That one could be. We've got 6, 3. I don't see any strong restriction there. And we've got 7, 2. I don't see any strong restriction there either. So maybe that's not it just yet. Right, we have 3 in one of those 2 cells. And we have a 2 in one of those 2 cells, and it's not that one. So that's a 2, that's a 3. That makes this a 4, and that's a 1, 3 pair. That makes that 4, and that's a 2, 3 pair. Very nice. This 2 is wiping out 2 from those positions, but we know we must have a 2 in the red, so that's a 2. This 8 is looking up here, I've just seen, so that must be an 8 there. I've got a 6, 7 pair in this column, so that's a 5. That removes 5 from there. Right, this can't be 4, 5 because of this 4. This can't be 4, 5 because of this 5. Therefore, this is 4, 5, and we know the order. That's 4, that's 5. That 5 is looking down there to there. That is this cell, so that's not a 5, and now 5 in the column goes here. That was pretty nice. Like that a lot. That gives me a 5 in one of those 2. Okay, if this were 1, 3, that would break that cell. So there is definitely a 4 in there, and we know there's definitely a 1 in there. So that is a 1, 4, 2. That makes that 7, which gives me a 6 here and a 7 here. That 1, 4 is looking across, making this 3 and this 1. Okay, this can't be our 6, 3. So this is our 6, 3. Don't know the order of that yet. This must be our 2, 7, but we do know the order of that. And this 1 is looking up. That's an 8. That's a 1. Okay. Hang on. Somehow managed to mistype that. All right. That 2 is now looking back here. That's a 3 and that's a 2. This 1 is looking down to give me a 4 and a 1 here. So I get a 4 in one of those two. I get a 5 in one of those two. I can place an 8 here by Sudoku because of that and that. That puts an 8. Wait. No, I've got an 8 here. Right. That's one of those two is an 8. There we go. That makes a whole lot more sense. Right, 3 in this box is in one of those two. I don't think I know which way round yet. Three in this box is one of those two, and it's not this one. So that's a 3. That resolves my 6 and my 3 here. That gives me a 3 in one of those two. In fact, this column needs 3, 6, 7, and 2. That's not a 2. That's not a 2. So that is. That's a 3. This is a 6, 7. That 3 resolves this. Seven is in one of those three. Okay. Um, 8 is in one of those two. 4 is in one of those two. Still haven't resolved this purple. I think all of the other arrows are done. All right. 7 is not there or there. That's a 7. That displaced 4, so that's a 4, and that's a 5. This is now 6 and 9. Okay. These two digits are 5 and 9, but I do not know the order. These two digits are 2 and 6, and I do know the order for that. That's a 2. That is a 6. These three digits are 4, 8, and 9. That one's not the 8. This column needs 4, 5, and 9. And that one's not a 4. This one's not a 9. That gives me a 5-9 pair in the row. That was unexpected, but I'll take it. That means that these three digits are 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, 6, 7, 8. And that's not an 8. Okay. What am I missing? All right, 5 in this column. Can't go in any of those. It's not there. Sorry, can't go in any of those, and so that must be the 5. So that's not a 5. That places a 5 into one of those two, which is not super helpful. Well, they're from 5, 6, and 7, because the 8's in one of those. So that gives me a 5, 6, 7, 8 in the column, making that a 4. That is now not 4. These are from 6, 7, and 8. 6, 7, 8. There we go. One of those two is an 8, so that's not the 8. And that is. Okay. I see lots of 6s and 7s, so I am going to clear the colouring. And, right, I'm going to mark that one in purple. Sorry, that one in green, that one in purple. This one must be purple. Ah, there we go. Green must be in one of those two. That makes this purple. That makes this green. Is there anywhere that sees purple and green yet? No. One of those two is green. Well, that 7 is looking across there. That's not a 7. Maybe that wasn't the right pair to be looking at. Okay. I am sure it is just Sudoku that I am missing. The question is, which bit? What do I need to be looking at? Maybe it's the 5s and 9s. That is the same as that digit. Okay, if that's 9, that's 6, that's 7, that's 8, and that's 6. If that's 4, that's 5, that's 9, 5, 9. Nope, that's not. So in this row, I need 6, 5, 6, 7, or 9, but not 5. And here, I need 4, 5, 6, or 7. Okay. But not 5. Feels like I am missing something and I can't see it for the life of me. Ah, this is green. That, I think, is probably the key. That makes that purple. And that was the thing to do because now this sees purple and green. So that's a 9. Okay. That makes this 8, this 4, this 9, that 5. That was a very nice ending. I think this is going to resolve everything. That's 4. That is not 4 and is therefore purple. 6, 7 pair in the row, making that 5. That is now green. This 9 resolves this 5 and this 9. This 9 resolves this 6 and this 9. That makes all of those purples 7. Makes the greens 6. And then this 8 makes this 6 and this 8. And that's it. That is a fantastic puzzle. Great break-in with, first of all, the maxing out these to be 9s. The fact that this can't be 1 because of that being the only single arrow cell. So that forced that. And then being able to allocate the arrows to the circles nicely. And then the beautiful ending where these two have to be the same in order to spot that this can't be a 6 or 7. I think it was that cell. But yeah, that great puzzle. Highly recommended. I hope you had a go. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. So yeah, if you like this solve, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see more, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.